guys, so now we're going into the new piece of this essay. So we already did some of our research. You can continue researching today as you find that you need more information on certain things. If you need help finding information, I am always here. I can start putting some cool websites where you can get some information up if I find any. So here's step one. We decided on the person and we did some research. That's what we've done so far. But now we have to decide what to put first. And in a book, you don't have the conclusion first, and then you move on to some middle part, and then you go to his childhood, but then you go to how he was born, and then you go back to the last part. It just doesn't make any sense. You want to kind of organize everything. So the first thing we're going to do is write a hook. Now, we've done hooks before, but this is going to be a different type of hook because we are working with a person, not with a topic. So you can start with a question. You can give a fun fact. You can write something that a lot of people think is true and then correct what they actually think is true if the thinking is wrong. Write how things are today and then explain how it was done, how it was different for the person you are researching. So let me give a couple of examples. Start with a question. Did you know, and I'm going to use a random person that I know a lot about. Let's do, did you know that Oprah Winfrey is not the richest person in the world, but is the Did you know that Oprah Winfrey is not the richest person in the world, but is the richest person, but is the richest woman in the world? So that's a question. I started you off with something that was just a question. So did you know that Oprah Winfrey is not the richest person in the world, but is the richest woman in the world? And then I would move on into a little bit about Oprah Winfrey. Give a fun or surprising fact. Fun fact about Oprah Winfrey. So here's my fun fact. Oprah Winfrey has many siblings. Her siblings are not as wealthy as she is. That's a cool fact about Oprah Winfrey. And then you would move on into the next piece. This is your hook. This is something that you want people to remember. So I'll highlight my hooks so that you can see them amongst all this stuff. Write something that many people think is true and then correct it. About Oprah Winfrey. Whoops. Here's one. So write something that a lot of people think is true and then correct it. Did you know that Oprah was born incredibly poor? She built her wealth on her own, and she was told she should never be a talk show host. Many people think she was born into wealth, but that is the complete opposite of the truth. So here's another one. Did you know Oprah was born incredibly poor? She built her wealth on her own and was often told she would never be a talk show host. Many people think she was born into wealth, but that is the complete opposite of the truth. So that would be a pretty good hook. It makes me want to kind of read on. What do you mean that she wasn't wealthy? She's the richest woman in the world. And the last one, write about how things are today and explain how it was different for the person you're researching. So I'm doing Oprah just one more time. This is not the person I'm researching, but I happen to know a lot about her because I watched a really cool documentary on her. So write about how things are today and then explain how it was different for the person you're researching. During the time, how about instead we start with what today is. So today, anyone could be anything they want. Anyone. So here's my other one. Write about how things are today and then explain how it was different based on your research. So right here I have today, anyone can be anything they want. Women can be doctors, scientists, and lawyers. Men can be stay-at-home dads, work in fashion, drive huge trucks. However, when Oprah was a kid, things were very different. Women had strict roles, and she was told many times that she wouldn't go anywhere if she broke the rules. So we can see how things are very different from today, and then we can go back into her life and see what really happened. Now, I wrote my own hook on a person that I am researching. I wrote my hook. My hook is right here. My hook. Many of you know about the famous Dr. Seuss, but did you know his actual name is Ted Gazelle? Probably not. In fact, there's a lot more to Dr. Seuss than meets the eye. So I used a question. I have a question right there, and it's actually a little bit of a mix of both. It's also something that people think is true, and then I correct it, because everyone thinks his name is Dr. Seuss, but it's actually not. His name is Ted Gazelle. So your job is to make a hook similar to mine. You want to hook your reader into being interested in your person. You want to make me want to read about whoever you're researching. And your next step is to write about their childhood. So this is the childhood. You're going to organize this information. Write about how it was when they were a kid. So after you write your hook, you're going to write about how it was when they were a kid. Tell me what day they were born and died. If you don't have that information, you should look it up. Where they grew up, you should look up this information if you don't have it. Tell me about their friends, their families, their pets. Were they rich or were they really poor, kind of like Oprah? What kind of childhood did they have? Was it a really good one where they got whatever they wanted and they were spoiled? Or did they have a childhood where they had to work? Because some kids did have to work back in the day. Any extra information about their childhood if you find any. So if you find out that they had like a really bad disease, like they had some type of bronchitis and they weren't able to get out of bed ever, that's a really good one. And maybe that led to why they're a writer. You can write about anything that leads up to their fame. So the best and the worst things that ever happened to them. What was their life like? Did they work every single day? Maybe they never worked because their family was rich. Tell me about them. Tell me what it was like for them to be a kid. And I have my hook right here. And now, this is my writing. Dr. Seuss, who was originally named Theodore Seuss Gazelle, but changed his name when he became an author, was born March 2nd, 1904 in Springfield, Massachusetts, U.S., and died September 24th, 1991 in La Jolla, California. And then I talk about his schooling. Theodore went to this college first, and then he went to these 3 colleges after. After that, he got a job working for magazines and newspapers, where he became well known for writing ads with weird and funny characters that help people remember the advertisements well. His characters were very famous. He also did comic strips and political cartoons. A political cartoon is like a comic strip that is drawn to show something political or having to do with government in a funny way. They are used to make fun of the people in charge. So this is what you should kind of have. You should write like a paragraph or 2 just to start off. That's what I did, and I have more at the bottom, but you're not going to see it. That's just to start off their life. Where he grew up, I have right here the day he was born and the day he died because he's not alive. This, and a little bit about his job. So organize it in that way. And if you need help with organization, message me or call me and I can give you a little more tips on that. And I'm going to be posting this whole thing with the hook types and your job for step 3. And we're going to work on step 3 tomorrow also. So if you get a lot done and then you decide you want to take a break, that's absolutely okay. Because we're going to be working on step 3 and another step tomorrow. And this is going to be an ongoing process this week. That's how writing is. Great job, guys. I'm going to save my file, and I will see you later.